when I got the phone call from the symphony, basically knowing that I actually can work with the orchestra, it was very exciting. And the other exciting part as well was to have actually the performance at the lobby, at the grand lobby. So immediately I was starting to think about how the whole architecture could be a part of the commission. And being there, participating, or not participating, but being there as a listener, I was intrigued somehow with these 9 columns. So these 9 columns was somehow a focus point to use this in the composition. So each column is assigned to one of the overtones. And also I was thinking, like, one of my 3 favorite or 3 most admired composers, Nencaro, which was known for his investigation in the time continuum. Then Henry Brand, he was focusing on the spatial aspect of music, like he composed what he called spatial music, where he was dividing up the orchestra into separate sections. And Jim Tenney investigating more of the spectrum of harmonics. So these 3 composers are basically the inspiration of putting this piece together. And again, using the architecture as a element, and also like my interest in my own work was always sound and spatial kind of configurations. Like moving the sound through space was always like an interest and an investigation. So using this, like the grand lobby, to doing this experiment with special kind of designed kinetic instruments is quite exciting. Also, other aspect I want to introduce, that the conductor, Ludovic Morlot, actually is conducting into a stereoscopic camera, where he is not just conducting the musicians, he also conducts the kinetic instruments which are suspended throughout the grand lobby at the Benaroya Hall. The instrumentation of the piece, which doesn't have a name yet, they are like instrument groups, or it's basically an ensemble. And one of the part of the ensemble is a prepared piano. And this prepared piano has automated fingers, and as well some kind of robotic devices which can damping the strings, they're scratching the strings, they can pluck the strings, they can actually bring the strings into vibration without even touching the strings. Other instrument group is called the horn reeds. They are basically reeds from a pump organ, and there are 27 of these triangular shapes suspended, and again 3 per column, so 3 times 9, there are 27 of these reed horns, and each reed horn has a certain kind of a blower mechanism built in. Inside the reed horn are these kind of reed units, and these are just like brass reeds from existing organ, a pump organ. And as soon as I'm applying air, and I'm just using computer power supply blowers from Macintosh, and as soon I'm putting this over the air source, the vacuum, the reed starts to vibrate, and here I can tune each one, and each one has to be tuned just by scraping a little bit of the metal, and they are all sharp right now a little bit, So every time you scrape off a little bit more, you get closer to the pitch. The chimes, they are actually they belonged to Henry Brand originally, and when he died, he gave a lot of instruments away to some of his students, some friends, and I equipped each of the chime with a special kind of mechanism, a mallet mechanism, so they can be played from other kind of remote source. And they are like 18 chimes, like 1.5 octaves, and they again like 2 times 9 each. Between each column there will be 2 chimes suspended.